I think his background on the video might be cooler than mine, although I have a lovely artwork as we are getting into some warmer weather, so I'm looking forward to that. And it kind of leads us to our next thing that we're talking about because it's a full week celebration happening down in Bardstown in June, and it is National Bourbon Week. And we have the executive director of the Bourbon Capital Alliance, Sam Lacy, to talk about it. Welcome in, Sam.
Jonathan, thank you for having me. Appreciate you having me on, and excited to talk National Bourbon Week and everything Bourbon Capital Alliance with you.
Well, now, before we get into all of that, you got the nice bourbon bottles behind you. We're talking about things about bourbon. You're in the bourbon capital of the world. How did you get into bourbon, though?
You know what? Honestly, I lucked into it. I grew up here in Bardstown, bourbon capital of the world, but truly did not get into bourbon until I moved back here from Atlanta in 2017. And I started working for the Tourism Commission, Visit Bardstown. And, with all these world-class distilleries in and around Bardstown, you're invited to a lot of bourbon events, which is cool. And just, being in the industry then, the tourism industry, it was kind of natural for me to fall into a bit of a love of bourbon. There are surprisingly folks around here that still kind of hold out and are not true bourbon lovers. But I lucked into it, and I started working with the Bourbon Capital Alliance, the organization I run now full time, in 2019. So really, even then, more so, got to be more involved on the bourbon side of things and have developed over the past 6 or 7 years quite a love for the spirit, the history of it, and what it means to Bardstown and Nelson County from an economic perspective.
Well, and you talk about it, you're the executive director of the Bourbon Capital Alliance. So for folks who may not be familiar with that, what is the Bourbon Capital Alliance and what role does it play in shaping Bardstown as the bourbon capital of the world?
Yeah, it's a great question. 2-minute elevator speech here. So the Bourbon Capital Alliance, we're a nonprofit, 501c3, headquartered in downtown Bardstown. We exist to build the comprehensive bourbon experience in and around Bardstown on behalf of our local community and also our 10 incredible partner distilleries, most of which reside in Nelson County, but we stretch into a few surrounding counties as well. And so a few of the things that we take on, number one, which we're talking about today, National Bourbon Week, third annual here in 2026, the Bourbon Capital Guild. We run it's a premium bourbon society. We have members in 22 states, and we get together in the space here, the Brendiamo Penthouse, and learn from our partner distilleries, do tastings, brand awareness, etc. We also run the Bourbon Capital Academy. And we are proud to launch in the coming month or two a brand new bourbon certification experience that we have built from the ground up called the Bourbon Capital Diplomat Experience. We will officially launch that to the media during National Bourbon Week in June, so super excited about that. The bourbon barrel trash cans downtown. If you've been in downtown Bardstown recently, we got those done. The Bourbon Capital District, the open container law in downtown Bardstown. So again, everything that we do is meant to build that experience for our local community and all of these visitors that come in from around the world each year.
Well, and you mentioned one of the main things that y'all do is in June, National Bourbon Week, and that is heading, like you said, into year 3. Now, obviously, it's still a baby, it's still growing and things like that, but how have you seen it evolve from year 1 until to now in year 3?
So National Bourbon Day each year, June 14th. And the history behind National Bourbon Day, supposedly, that was the very first day, June 14, 1789, that Elijah Craig, now a brand now owned and associated with Heaven Hill, first distilled whiskey. So National Bourbon Day, we actually started a very small scale, it's about a 30-minute ceremony on the great lawn of Spalding Hall right behind me in 2018. And I was still with the Tourism Commission at that time. I attended that ceremony. The mayor read a proclamation. We had some master distillers in. We all took a toast and we went our separate ways. That was the extent of how National Bourbon Day started here in Bardstown. In 2019, I took over and we immediately expanded into a 3-day series of events. 2020, the world kind of got weird with COVID, so we pivoted very quickly to provide some really cool virtual content. And then 21, 22, 23, again, kind of 3-4 day series of events. I had one of my partner distilleries really pushing me for a couple of years. Hey, we can do National Bourbon Week. We can scale up. We can make it a full week. And finally, 2 years ago in 2024, I said, all right, we're ready to do this. It's the natural evolution. So 24, we had 6 days of events in Bardstown, in and around. Last year, 7 days, and this year, a full 8 days, kicking off on Sunday, June 14, National Bourbon Day, going all the way through that following week, and ending on that following Sunday, June 21.
I mean, it's pretty cool to see how you guys have grown this and honestly naturally grown it. You know, I mean, your partners have wanted to do things. Some things were already happening in other places, made sense to find a home in National Bourbon Week. But it is a community-wide celebration, and you all want to put the spotlight on Bardstown and Nelson County. So how important is it, you know, that this goes beyond just the distilleries and showcases Bardstown as a whole?
Oh, it's incredibly important, Jonathan, and the way we want to position this is as a community-wide celebration of bourbon. And the jobs the industry provides for our locals, we have families that have worked at James B. Beam, for instance, for generations, provide really good jobs and really good living for a lot of people in and around Nelson County. And the tourism impact, you know, we have people that come in from all over the world throughout the year. They stay in our hotels, they eat in our restaurants. That money they spend stays here, and it circulates throughout our local economy. So whether you like bourbon or not, and that's fair to each their own, you have to recognize the economic impact and what it has done in multiple ways for Bardstown and Nelson County. So it's just really, again, a celebration of that, anchored by my 10 partner distilleries, the events that they do throughout the week, and there are events on every single day of those 8 days. Also, the Bourbon City Street Concert downtown on Saturday. That's a free concert. Thousands come out for that every year. But what's cool about it, what we've seen over the past couple of years, and even more so this year, are downtown establishments put together events around bourbon. Your evergreen liquors, your Chicken Cock, circa 1856, the tasting room down there. They jump in and want to be part of National Bourbon Week, as they should, and we want everyone throughout that week to see the positive impact of all these people that come in. And I will say that early in bookings, the bookings that I can see, about 3 weeks in from on sale ticket date, we have bookings from all over the country, and people are coming here. The brand awareness around National Bourbon Week has grown, really grew a lot last year, and I had people asking me last year, what are the dates for 2026? You know, we want to come back. So it's cool. It's been a strategic effort to build to our third annual, but some of this has just happened organically as well. And last thing I'll say is it's always give credit to our partner distilleries for being willing to jump in, put together some really cool events throughout the week. Those really sell themselves, makes it a little easier on me when they're putting together those really cool experiences that draw consumers in.
I was going to say, you get to talk to it like folks to folks like me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and like you said, I think one of the coolest aspects, most unique aspect, is it's spread across multiple distilleries and venues. And how do you encourage folks that are coming in for this, or maybe they're like, ooh, this sounds like great, to kind of build their own experience rather than just maybe go to one event, because there are things literally on every day and truly for any and all out there.
Yeah, you're right, and that's a great question. The full partner distillery event schedule is at nationalbourbonweek.com. We launched a standalone website last year. That was another step in legitimizing National Bourbon Week. So all of those distillery events are there. A few are sold out already. One of them went within a couple hours of being on sale, which was really cool to see. But there are a lot of special events still left. And the cool thing about National Bourbon Week, kind of the way that we position it, is it's an a la carte experience. You can make your own itinerary. So all of the distillery tickets, those are all sold by the distilleries. They're individual tickets. And so you can look, I'm going to be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to book this on Monday. And Tuesday I can go to a different distillery, and Wednesday there's this going on downtown. And I also encourage people to kind of lean in on what are you interested in? Are you interested in education? We see so much of that, now that the bourbon consumer is so incredibly educated and can't wait to get more education. So there are a few events this year at partner distilleries that really lean in on bourbon education, wood finishing, blending. So I would encourage everyone to look at every single event and again, kind of book those tickets for what their true interests are.
And then, of course, check out Bardstown, because there are, like you said, a ton of great restaurants, a ton of great shops, and even more things that are kind of coming online that are pretty cool. And you mentioned that, you couldn't do this without those 10 partner distilleries, and you're up to 10 this year.
Yep.
You have new additions like, I believe, Limestone Branch, Potter Jane.
Uh-huh.
What do they bring to the overall experience when you're adding these new folks, but also have the ones that have been around for a few years, we'll say, in the business and are able to do some cool things too?
Well, kudos to our, kind of 8 sustaining partner distilleries that have been with us from the start. And really excited this year to add Limestone Branch in nearby Lebanon, partner distillery of Luxrow, who's a longtime distillery partner of ours, as well as Potter Jane in nearby Springfield. And they have brought new ideas to the group, vibrancy to the group. Denny and Jane have brought some really fun events during National Bourbon Week. They're doing a bar crawl in downtown Bardstown, which I think is amazing. We've never done anything like that. That'll be on Saturday. I think there are 4 seats left there. And again, that educational experience. They're doing some blending classes out at Potter Jane, which will be really cool. And then Limestone Branch, their brunch on, I believe, Saturday morning. Yes, Barrels and Biscuits with Master Distiller Steve Beam is almost sold out. So that'll be out at the distillery. So, one of the things about National Bourbon Week, many of our distilleries have done brunches in the past. I'm a huge fan of brunch. Like, I like to get up, and get things moving around 11 a.m. with, maybe a mimosa or some type of bourbon cocktail and some food, kind of start the day right. So really glad that Limestone Branch brought a brunch back. And, it's just, again, it's cool the breadth of distillery experiences that we have to offer in our 3rd annual National Bourbon Week.
Well, and one of those that I think is really, really cool is the Bourbon Capital Mash Up, and it's back. What makes that event such a standout, especially where you bring in the food side of things and culinary pairings tied to mash bills, of all things?
Yeah, and that was a really cool idea that we kind of tossed around with my PR firm and some others last year, and decided to move ahead with that. And the impetus behind that, my thought process was, we've never had, last year it was 9, this year 10, all the partner distilleries under one roof. And I just want to showcase what the Bourbon Capital Alliance is, and really showcase the distilling talent amongst those 10 distilleries, and also our local culinary talent, because we do have some very talented chefs in and around Bardstown, both at distilleries and also at individual establishments around town. So the Bourbon Capital Mash Up, 3-hour event on Friday evening. This will be the 2nd annual. It's held downtown, beautiful bespoke and bond event space, neat bourbon bars on the front side of that, the 2nd location in neat there. And our VIPs will get access for 3 hours. All the master distillers will be there. Everyone's paired with a great culinary vendor, either internal or somebody local to downtown Bardstown. Our VIPs get exclusive access to neat throughout the night. That's their lounge. We're going to welcome them with a dusty, a vintage cocktail as soon as they walk through the door, and they'll have access to some additional vintage pours from amongst our partner distilleries up in neat throughout the night. Want to thank Visit Bardstown for sponsoring our VIP that evening. We have a very close relationship with Visit Bardstown for National Bourbon Week, really from a marketing perspective. They're a fantastic partner of ours. And then our GA tickets are fantastic as well. And we have about 40 of those remaining right now. And you get access for 2 hours to the master distillers, all the food from the distilleries, the culinary partners, all the pours. We're doing a charitable bottle pull again this year, and we'll donate those proceeds to a very deserving local charity, and also working on a silent auction for this year, maybe featuring some rare bottles from our partner distilleries. So it's a really fun evening. If you can only do one event, then I would encourage you. You've got access to all 10 of the distilleries in one place on Friday evening, June 19th.
And food, which is, I don't know how much better of a combination it gets than have some drinks, some great food, and talk to the people doing all this.
And the food last year blew me away. I mean, last year, first time we had done it, didn't totally know what to expect. The food was incredible, and there was so much of it. So, for the price of your ticket, you do not need to do dinner that night. Like, your dinner's covered, your drinks are covered. So yeah, it's a fun evening.
Well, and I love that, and I love how you work through things to make sure all the folks get to see everyone if they want a chance. Like you said, all 10 under one roof. Another thing about this week that I think the distilleries have put an emphasis on too is special releases, unique pours. So how important is it to, this might be the only time you're going to be able to get one of those certain releases to come to Bardstown and check it out.
Yeah. That's something, when we had our post-mortem meeting last year, I said, I think a natural kind of evolution of National Bourbon Week in year 3 is to potentially lean in on some special releases. We know that drives traffic, and it's a profit center for distilleries as well, which is, that's good for me. So we've got, Preservation Distillery, their juice, fantastic. Marcy and the team there, Kyle, JT, just incredible. They've put together a really fun Sunday event, kind of open hours. It's a ticketed thing, but 3 or 4 open hours there with several different stations, several different activations. And if you do all 5 of those, you have access to a special National Bourbon Week release that week. One of our new partner distilleries, Potter Jane, also, you look at their event titles, it's Big Vat Blending Class, it's Big Vat Liar Bar Crawl, and you start reading the descriptions, and they're kind of saying without saying that they are releasing a product that week. So that will be really cool. I believe it will be their first aged product release, and so they're kind of building experiences around that. There is one more distillery that I've been sworn I honestly can't say, but there will be an announcement at some point here in the next few weeks, a special release at one of our larger partner distilleries during that week, either during their event or throughout the week. So I cannot share that, but that will be another highly anticipated special release that week.
Well, I mean, if you haven't given us enough teases on things that should get us to go there, or just the amazing events, for someone who hasn't ever been to Bardstown or maybe hasn't experienced National Bourbon Week yet, what's the one thing you would tell them to convince them to make the trip this June?
Oh, man. I'm not going to list every single event. Go to nationalbourbonweek.com and look at those there. What I would say is there is something for everyone. And again, there's more going on throughout the week. So all of the kind of the ancillary events and whatnot, like I mentioned, the Evergreens, the Chicken Cocks, Scout and Scholar, Mr. Tubbs, Neat, all these people will be doing something special, whether it's bringing in master distillers from outside Bardstown, which is what Evergreen typically does that week. There's something for everyone. And if bourbon is not your thing, then there is something here for you as well. So it's a great time to be in Bardstown. Kind of my internal goal is We're here in the Brind'Amo Penthouse, which is actually a shared space with the legendary Kentucky Bourbon Festival. If I can ever get anywhere near, what my colleagues there at Kentucky Bourbon Festival have put together, then it would be great for Bardstown and both parties. So I would say that National Bourbon Week, depending on what you want, is right there, in the top couple of weeks that you want to be here in Bardstown.
Well, and I'll say this: if you haven't yet, go visit Bardstown. It's a special little town. It's a really cool town. There's so much going on, so much great food, so many great things to do. And Sam, thank you for talking about the Bourbon Capital Alliance and National Bourbon Week. And folks, go look it up. Don't miss out this June down in Bardstown. Thank you, Sam.
Jonathan, thank you so much. And I'd be remiss very quickly if I didn't mention, because it's right here in front of me, our title sponsor of National Bourbon Week, Busick Construction. And I want to thank them every time. They have been our title sponsor for years now. And their financial support has allowed us to really scale this into what it has become. So, Jonathan, thank you. Enjoyed it.